We've all done it. We've all bought cars online. We haven't seen them. We don't know what they're like. But we've been sent a picture and we've had emails with glowing reports how good this vehicle is, and oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, oh, it's been reliable, it's never let me down, etc, etc, etc. Well, if it's so bloody good, why are you selling it? Well, this car behind me has come from Africa. And just to give you an idea, I'm going to just step aside a minute and just show you what the customer would have seen. Not bad, eh? Looks old there. But we're going to have a look around this car. And I'm not going to pull it to bits, but I'm just going to show you what to look for. I've been sent this car by Dave, who's in Toronto, and he works for a children's charity. And what they had in mind was to put like a big screen TV in the back of it and show potential donors their work they do in Africa and all over the place. A very noble idea and a very noble cause. However, I think we've picked the wrong vehicle. You see, usually we send all our junk to Africa. We don't actually buy anything from Africa because it's usually finished. This car's come from Ghana. Ghana, well, there's a coastal area of Ghana, and I think this has come from around there because the frame's quite rusty. It needs new outriggers and rear cross members needs repairing, but most alarmingly there's a big rust gash right under the rear radius of the suspension. Now, I'm not going to crawl underneath it because it's all icy, but I saw this when it came on the tow truck and I should have really got my camera out, but I didn't have time. But I can show you some pictures that Dave sent me. I'll just put some snapshots in here. And you can see now what it looks like. When it was on the tow truck, when it was driven down here, I sort of noticed that the axle at the back has been replaced by a Discovery 1 axle. Don't laugh. It's got a disc brake axle, but it's not a Salisbury. Does it work? Well, it obviously works, but it's not the right one. But it is a proper 300 TDI and it is left-hand drive, but having done 300,000 kilometres in Ghana, which only has 21% of paved roads, it's had a hard life. And if anybody knows anything about Africa or third world countries, vehicles only get maintained when they break down. They don't do regular maintenance. So we're going to have a look around this. I might as well tell you this now before I get too involved with the camera. When this arrived in Toronto, it still had water in the engine, and unfortunately it froze. Now, water has a tremendous power when it's frozen, and it blew the radiator, but it also looks like it's pushed out the core plugs, or as Americans like to call them, frost plugs, out the block, and they've sort of been popped back in, which is never a really good idea. But the thing is, these 300 TDIs, the head, I just don't know what it's like. There are some weak spots on the head, which I'll tell you about. But also, as you probably saw from a video that I'll put up here, that this car has been running on water all its life, and it's corroded internally in the engine, so we don't know what the head's like. So let's go around and have a look at this car. It'll cheer us up, won't it? So first of all, let's have a little walk around and see what we can see. From the externals of it, it doesn't look bad at all. You know, you can't see any rust on the doors or any corrosion, but we haven't got into detail yet. Bit of a flat tyre on the back. But you can probably, I don't know if you can probably see underneath there that that's the disco axle in there. No corrosion on the back door. The outrigger's gone, the outrigger side of the rear cross member's gone. I might be able to repair that, but I'm on a bit of a tight budget, so I'm doing this video principally for Dave, just to have a look around. It's had tinted windows in it sometime. That's not too good. Again, it looks square. It looks nice because it's white. White's the best vehicle cover. White is the best colour for a Land Rover because it hides a multitude of sins. It doesn't reflect as well. So there we go. The mirrors looks like it's seen better days. So there you go, and that's how this vehicle came. That's the they've put in the garage in Toronto or somewhere. Have put tubeless tyres on a tube rim, and unfortunately it doesn't work. Now let's go and have a look at these tyres. They've all got four matching tyres, which is kind of unusual, and these are called Tyre Full. That's a name that fills me full of confidence. They're supposed to be 750 16s, but do you know something? They look more like 650 16s. They're very small. Oh yeah, that's another thing he's had done. He's had the gas tank replaced. You know, the fuel tank, it was leaking. So they fixed that apparently. So, I know you're all bursting to see. Let's have a look at the engine first. Typical 300 TDI. Nothing unusual, but we start to look in at bits and pieces that is very bizarre. For example, this thermostat housing here has got 2 electrical switches on, and those switches were only fitted to air-conditioned units, and this hasn't had air condition on it. So I'm just wondering about this engine. One thing I noticed yesterday when I was looking around this is the injector pump. You see, I don't know if you can see down here the little tab. See, it's bent. This is the maximum speed, and look how the maximum speed, the speed stop has been screwed right back. You see? Something's very odd there. And also, look at this. This is not the right pump for this car, I don't think. This is off the exhaust gas recirculation model. Well, it's supposed to have another lever coming up there, but that's missing. Another thing that makes me think it's an exhaust gas recirculation model is it's got this top hose for the intercooler with a steel insert that usually goes to the exhaust gas recirculation. But I can't see any wiring for it. Again, African cars, they all get robbed of bits and pieces. I don't know. Anyway, let's have a look at this. This is, like in the video I did the other day, there's a big housing here, and that's all cracked due to ice. It's I don't know. It's had some paint on it, but what I wanted to show you was, I don't know if you can see very well, but the frost plugs here are all rusted out, and somebody's popped them back in again. And the one under the middle here, you might be able to see it, is a new frost plug being put in. So somebody's taken that off. Another strange telltale sign of this car is there's a spare turbo in the back. Why on earth would you want a spare turbo? I see these mounting bolts, there's tapped holes there. That's not usually in a 300 TDI. And the pressure outlet here that goes to your injector pump is usually here. So somebody swapped over that housing. Why? The exhaust has had lots and lots of patches on it. Frame and things like that look pretty good. And looking around the bulkhead at the top, it's not too bad. It's got this funky master cylinder and brake servo on, and it says made in Japan, so it's probably come off a Toyota or a Nissan. I don't know much about those cars, but that's it anyway. So let's have a look inside the engine. Ooh, look at that black oil. Let's have a look at the dipstick. Black. Although the oil level is up, it's black. See if we can get it in. Oh, there we go. Lots of corrosion. Lots and lots of corrosion. This is what you get when you use just straight tap water and no antifreeze or no coolant. The wiring's not too bad. The heater has been disconnected for some reason, and again that's sort of putting alarm bells off, you know, sounding alarm bells, because why do that? I can see somebody's put the hose going to this pipe here. This pipe usually goes all the way across, and it's been joined up. Fan shroud, looks like something's exploded in there at one point. It's a new radiator. The steering box doesn't look like it's leaking, but then again, this car has been extremely power washed off before it could come here. They charged $200 an hour for power washing this frame to get all the red dirt off, this African dirt, and it took them 20 hours to clean it. 20 hours of cleaning. So I have a bit of a dilemma with this car. I need to get this engine running to see what it's like, you know, but I really want to pressure test the block. The 300 TDI heads have a habit of cracking near the rear exhaust port, inside the port, and you know, some people have reported, well, I've seen it 3 times, that the coolant level goes down. You can't see where it's going. There's no smoke coming out of the back. Compression's good and the head gasket's good, but it's still losing coolant, and it usually comes out of the back of the head. It cracks. Now, because this has had ice in it, what the hell is it going to be like? I really don't know. But anyway, that's just a bit of a walk around at the front. The wings look nice and straight, well, straight as could be, but I think there's a lot of filler in it. You know, these corners here, see, these corners they're round. They're supposed to have a nice pronounced squareness to them, and if anybody knows about Land Rovers, they'll know what to look for. I'm going to drop the bonnet in a minute, which means I'll just stop this section, but again, all rounded off, so this has been bashed about a bit. Salvageable, so far so good. But let's have a look at the bulkhead. Now, I know we've all had problems with the vents leaking, but I've never seen a repair like this before. This is silicone, and there's a lot of it, and that is going to be a nightmare to remove. But there's worse than that, because this bulkhead is full of filler. Look under here. See it's all starting to crack. There's a lot of filler in that. And another thing to look for, this corner should be nice and sharp and pronounced, you know, but you can see where it's been rubbed down and painted over. They've even blocked up the little hole in here for the drain. The windscreen rubber has been replaced at some time. That's not the original. So there's a couple of clues. The wiper arm has been rubbing on here, so it looks like that's been snapped off and somebody's put that on. Yeah, so the bulkheads are both the same. There's lots of filler in this bulkhead. I did notice again when it was on the towing truck that the footwell, they've gone, they're finished. It needs replacing. When it's the same at this side, look at this here. See all these repairs? 1996, it is 23 years old. Don't expect miracles. So let's have a look inside. So this is what we get. I've pulled the carpets out and had a look at the footwell, and it has got plates on. Well, there is something very strange about this car. If you look at the matting, it looks good, but it doesn't look, it's not original factory. It's like quilted soundproofing, and it's all over the place, look, you see. I don't know what that's from. See, a lot of these Land Rovers were built as like knockdown kits and things like this, but this one, the VIN number shows it was made in Solihull. I don't know why that is. And it's got a one-piece mat going right across the the transmission, which is unusual. Another telltale sign that somebody's been buggering around with this is look where the gear stick is. It's shoved over that way. Well, that's not right. Fuse boxes, covers missing. Oh, look at that great big handle on the bonnet pull. That's a bit of a nice thing. Wiring, rat's nest. Top dash is cracked. Vents are missing. Cubby box is carpeted. The seats are remarkably good. I can't understand it for a vehicle that's got 300,000 miles on. The seats are really good. Now, one thing I really want to show you is this. Look at the headlining. Huh? Look at that. Now, you'll probably notice by the Alpine windows over there, they've covered them over. I wonder why that is. And it's the same at the back. Look at that. See if we can do a bit of a zoom and you can see that feature. It's not a bad job. A bit funky, but certainly not original. But I want to show you something that's kind of important. When I was looking around this vehicle yesterday, I noticed that the striker here has done the typical breaking of the pillar. But when I looked up here, there's a crease here. Maybe you can see that. There's a crease both sides. Obviously it's got white paint everywhere, but that's not right. Very difficult to see, and something you would never see in a picture. But let's go and have a look at the other side. When we look at the other side, we can see this is actually been welded here. All the way around. Now I've got to thinking. And again, look at these seats for 300,000 kilometres. They're almost perfect. So has this vehicle been reconstructed? It's looking like it. I've got to thinking it might have been reconstructed at some point. There's something not quite right about it. I don't know. Why go to all that trouble of putting that different lining in? And why the door pillars got bent? That's sort of something that doesn't happen much. And you can see that the pillars have got full of body filler. Same round here, full of body filler. Check straps are missing. I don't know. When I look inside the speaker aperture here, there's bits of tin and all sorts being bolted on. In fact, looking here, there's nothing left of that heater box, the heater ducting. It's all rusted out. Obviously it's been in some water at some point in its life. Let's open these doors and we'll have a look at the doors. The doors look remarkably good and it's quite deceiving, but they are full of filler. We probably can't see very well, and again it's another thing that doesn't pick up too well on photographs. This is being patched up, look. You can see where it's not parallel, it kicks out here at an angle. Door card's typically been screwed back on, all the clips broke off. And something strange too, that it's got a black door card on that side and this side's grey. All the fittings are broken, they're broken. It's had a hard life. Now again, this is strange because there's a turbo stuck in the back, and it is a Land Rover one. It is a 300 TDI one. But why do that? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And there's a spare power steering pump. Usually all these vehicles are corroded quite badly under here. It's another place to look at. It has a patch in here. Painted seat belts, look, that's a feature. But the seats are very, very good. Again, look at the crack in here. You know, because of the doors have been rattling. Look at the overlap. See, all these things you'll never see in pictures. These have been off before. Little tiny details, look. See the head of the shank of the pop rivets not snapped off flush. See? And you notice there's no pop rivets down here. There should be some pop rivets here, and there should be some pop rivets along here, and they're missing. Yeah, let's have a look inside at the back. Spare tyre looks like it's seen better days. It's had a new replacement door card on there. But again, things you don't see on pictures, all cracked through vibration. I can't see if the door's rotten without taking anything off, but see underneath, it doesn't look too bad. Starting to get a hole there, which is normal, because what happens is it starts to rub here because the door tips down. Now bizarrely enough, there's the tubes out of this out of the wheels. I don't know why they didn't put them back in. Crazy, eh? Anyway, God knows what's in here. Ooh, messy. So that's it. Trims are missing off the front there. It's pretty dirty. It'll clean up. But my problem on this vehicle isn't so much the doors, it's the mechanics of it. Can I fix it within a budget? I don't think so. I think it's going to cost a fortune. I don't know what the brakes are like, because I can't drive it. Of course, I'm not going to spend any money on it until I know that we get the get-go and say yes, put some money in it. But it's going to cost a fortune. It really is. You know, it looks quite deceiving. And for what they want that sort of African look. And basically, I could get away with not doing anything on the outside at all. Patch up the chassis. But my biggest concern is the engine and transmission. What the hell's that like? I really don't know. I really don't know. And that's the expensive bit. We can get it through inspection. It really needs new tyres on it, proper Land Rover tyres. But another cause for concern, you know, 300,000 kilometres on these steel rims. Are they straight? Now, I don't know about Ontario inspection, but in Quebec, they will put a gauge and turn the wheel to see if the wheels are not buckled. I don't know. Might need a set of rims, I don't know. I'm only talking out loud to myself. But anyway, that's it. I say it can be salvaged, but I don't know. Not for a budget. So what I'm saying is, just beware when you're buying a vehicle. Just beware. Try and have somebody to look at it properly. You know, because these are all aluminium, it's very difficult to go around the body with a magnet and test where the filler is. I mean, if it was that old rock box over there, well, that's a different thing. You'd go around it with a magnet. But I don't know. But like I say, it's presentable for what they want. It's got the look of Africa, which I wouldn't actually change. You know, it's not going to be a concours vehicle, and I can understand that. Just getting it running. Yeah. Oh, there, look, you see, it's got a Discovery wheel on the back. I bet somebody salvaged the Discovery and put the axle on the back of this. Again, it's not a concours car. It's not a show car. It works, and that's about it. I don't know. But the more I look on it, the more I think, yes, I can pull this together. But can I do it for a budget? You know, that's the problem. Can I do it on a budget? I've been on these budget routes last year, and that didn't end very well. So that's it. 110 1996 County Station Wagon. Jesus is Lord. Apparently they're very religious in Ghana. Probably have to be to drive this. Oh, look at that one. There's something I just noticed. Let's have a look under here. Look at this. Look at the steering guard tube. Look at that. That shows it's had a bit of a hard life, doesn't it? So I don't know. I did have a look at the swivels. I'm sorry I keep adding bits in, but I did have a look at the swivels, and they're all nice and shiny and not leaking. But then again, might not have any oil in. It really needs a good maintenance session. Let's see what Dave says. Alright, so we'll talk to you later. Bye.